Good evening. This is Debra V.Wilson. It is Tuesday, the 13th of February 2018. The time is 2300 hours. That's GMT minus 6, and I am still smack dab in the center of North America and Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada. I literally just returned from an event at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. It was an event hosted by the University of Manitoba out of Outreach and Engagement, Visionary Conversations. The title of the talk, and it was hosted by Dr. David T. Bernard, President and Vice Chancellor of University of Manitoba. There were 4 panelists, and the topic was, are Black Canadians equitably represented in positions of power and influence? According to the Vice Chancellor, President and Vice Chancellor, the discussion including audience comments and feedback, will be posted within a week, so I will post that on YouTube as well. But this is just a quick podcast to give you a heads up about the event. It was very interesting. There were a myriad of persons there of African descent, and there was diversity, so not everyone there was of African descent, but there were a myriad of persons of African descent with several different perspectives in terms of how they experience being Black and Canadian, and how they feel they experience their citizenship and place in this country, and how they feel the country in turn experiences them in response to them. I thought it was very interesting. The 4 panelists were engaging and interesting, and then again, I will post that information within this podcast in the description box. But this is a heads up to give you the opportunity to read the description of the program and to think yourself on how you construct. I personally don't care for the term race. I know it may sound a bit hokey, but when I think of race, I think human race. We're all human. So I tend to think of people as in terms of ethnicity. So my ethnicity would be that I'm African American by birth, and now I define as African American by birth and now a Black Canadian. So that's the way in which I view the world and how I looked at the conversation and the comments from the panelists as well as from the audience. But I think it's very interesting. And it's very, of course, timely. It's Black History Month here in Canada. So it was a very timely event. The response from the audience was quite lively. It's always a good sign when the moderator has to say, we have to stop here, I'm sorry. That's indicative that it can be indicative of a conversation that's very engaging and engrossing and involving, and that was definitely the case. There were differences of opinion of how and who and why people define themselves as Black, and there were questions about whether even this conversation was necessary, or the construct of the conversation, was it correct in its scope and its perspective. It was all very interesting. So I will be sure to remember to post the event, and I'm hoping I'll have it up by the 20th of this month, since the President and Vice Chancellor said it would be within a week. So knock wood, hopefully it will be, and I will post the podcast and have some comments, additional comments then. This is Debra V. Wilson again, and I like just like saying that. I'm smack